Chad and Tyrone comes from the minds of introverts, and let me explain what I mean. So firstly, what is a Chad and Tyrone? Quite simply, Chad represents the ideal male of the Caucasian geographic race, and Tyrone represents the ideal male of the Negroid geographical race. Okay, this is a white guy and a black guy that often has ideal height, looks, buffness, right? An attractive male, essentially. And people who believe in these archetypes, they basically assume, or they basically came to the conclusion that only these guys can have success in the realms of relationship and dating, right? It's only Chad and Tyrone that will be picked, chosen, and get the best mates, okay? Are attractive people going to be most likely to be in relationships, or most likely to be physically attractive? Of course, right? But the sad thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand, or willfully reject, is the idea of a person's character and the personality impact on people. And this is often coming from someone who basically is just usually not an interesting person. You know, this isn't a dig, but that's typically what it is. So it's usually coming from younger people with less life experience, probably still in education. You know, they haven't developed their interests, they haven't developed hobbies, so they really don't have anything that makes them stand out from the crowd. So in their head, they just believe it must be all about looks. But the reality is, and most people who have this experience will testify, is that looks is only one aspect, right? What happens when you open up your mouth? What happens when you express your mentality? What comes out? Is it beautiful words, or is it venomous words? Do you have integrity? You know, are you consistent? Do you operate on a set of values that are positively received by people, fellow human beings, right? People with this mindset forget the fact that our unique selling points as people is our own individuality, right? Our own uniqueness, outside of just looks, how you make people feel, you know, what you do. The reason why I believe this is a figment chiefly coming from introverts is because introverts unfortunately live inside their head, meaning that introverts are very prone to conjure up imaginations, you know, very prone to create their own adversaries. I'm hoping I said that right. Their own worst enemies, right, in their head. You know, and often a lot of the problems introverts might cite don't even actually exist. You know, a lot of it is just purely made up, right? And this is one of the biggest weaknesses of introverts, is this aspect of living inside their head, you know. And unfortunately, this comes from having a creative imagination, right? But this is an example of how your own imagination can just set you back, right? And you create your own prison that is probably the worst entrapment you can be in, right? It's like literally a matrix, you know. You can't come out of your own matrix, you know. Again, this is all mentality, psychology. If you don't have optimal mentality, you're going to be prone to doing these things. So I'm not going to give you a lecture on things you know, but this behavior basically makes many introverts appear to have low self-esteem or appear to have an inferiority complex, you know, particularly versus this colorful, extroverted, outgoing people person, right? It's just this automatic assumption that we have less value. And so it's this automatic, it's this self-belief that puts us in a secondary position, right? Makes us literally beta males. You know, there's even a common belief, right, that confidence doesn't even exist. People scoff at that idea that a person can gain confidence. And I think this is, again, a prone belief of an introvert who, you know, especially for the less outgoing introverts that lack friendships, and introverts that lack the opportunity to experience new things, are bound to be having these set of beliefs. Look, here's the cure for low confidence: experience. To gain experience, in most cases, you have to be able to operate outside of your comfort zone. You know, you need to be able to live in the world, in the real world, outside of safe spaces. And I think this is the biggest problem that most people have. You know, people are afraid to be embarrassed. People are afraid to be in quote-unquote cringe situations, awkward situations. You know, this, again, very sensitive demeanor will mean that you just limit yourself and your ability to gain experience. You know, to go out and do something outside of your norm. Why not go and climb a mountain? Why not try surfboarding? Why not this summer? Why not just try something totally random but new? Just for your own edification, for your own knowledge, just to say that, oh, I've done that. You know, that's what I used to do. I used to make this goals board where part of the completion criteria was to do new things, right? And I will commit to these things for a certain amount of time. 25% progress, 50% progress, 100% progress, and then I reward myself with a good prize, you know, treat myself. This is, again, what I was talking about when it comes to scheduling outgoing activities, you know. But when you're able to exit your comfort zone, you know, you probably have a bit more humility, right? You're probably not taking yourself so seriously. You know, and then you're more open to critique, right? So you're not going to feel the shame when you put yourself out there anymore. You're going to be used to it. And as you continue the process of trying new things, being a bit more outgoing, you're naturally just going to meet people, gather around people who will be interested in you. You know, who will like you for what you've achieved, for your experiences, you know. Again, a lot of people aren't able, especially in this day and age where you can just cope in a social media platform, a lot of people aren't able to do that so readily and so willingly. Number one way to kind of be a glutton for criticism, start a YouTube channel. Yeah, start a YouTube channel. You know how you guys are on YouTube. You're going to troll every now and then. You know, you're going to receive harsh comments. How are you going to deal with that? Are you going to fold and give up? You know, someone's going to critique your stuttering, right? Your speech style, your looks, your hairline, your jawline. You know, how are you going to deal with that? Are you just going to fold? Or are you going to overcome these challenges? This is the key that will allow you to access, you know, new people, friends even, humility, you know, and then all of a sudden you end up like me, wearing yellow trainers and yellow socks, pink t-shirt, and you know, you don't care what people think. You know, that is the end goal. Because remember, this is just our one life to achieve what we need to achieve. You know, it's no good living inside your mind or it's no good creating a fairy tale that you can't experience. That's something that I've never understood. This is why I had to become a fighter, because I didn't want to be cheering some other fighter on, you know, like trying to mimic what he does. Why don't I just learn it? I've got two arms, I've got two legs. Why not just learn the techniques? Why don't I become a fighter? Right? Why don't I change my style and stuff like that? You know, and work on my abilities. This is also why I don't like watching fights. I don't like going to arenas simply to watch a fight. I like to be the one taking part. And this is why, generally speaking, I'm not a fan of anyone. I don't support teams. I don't wear other guys' jerseys on my, on my back. I don't support. I'm not a fan. I'm not impressed, because in my eyes, I am, the one. But yeah, eventually, when you have this humility, when you're able to take criticism, when you shed the sensitivity away from you, you will just naturally be in the presence of people who like you for who you are, for your willpower, for your strength. And these relationships will have nothing to do with your gunyan or your jawline or your hairline or your height. Do you think I'm gonna discriminate against some guy because he's 5'2" with a receding hairline and buck teeth, if he has wisdom that I can learn from? Right? That's not how the real world works. People value you based on what you contribute, what people can learn from, what knowledge you can teach. So yeah, I mean, Chad and Tyrone is the figment of the introvert's imagination, and again, online is the home of many introverts, and it's unfortunate that that is the case, but I'm realizing that that is just the truth. And so many people are so stubborn with what I'm saying, they will harshly reject everything that I've said, and they have no room to analyze and to have introspection and reflect if anything in what I'm saying is true, because that's just how much of a prison these people exist in their own head, their own doing. I can't imagine being a conscious being, but yet still being unwilling or unable to be critical, either think critically or be critical of myself, But yeah, what do you guys think? Chad and Tyrone, apparently Chad was first coined in Chicago, right? But is Chad and Tyrone real? Do you see Chad and Tyrone in the real world? Is it only Chad and Tyrones that have relationships? Are you a Chad and Tyrone, yet you still have success in life? Let us know what you think. See you in the next one.